Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah Hari Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunattu Saha Viryam Karavavakai Tejasvinavadhetamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Okay. So today we are addressing some questions given by the participants. So the first question was given by Ms. Pavitra. Okay. Right. So she was asking how to differentiate between. Can you rephrase that question, Ms. Pavitra? Can you tell that address? Can you articulate that question again, please?
Differentiation between what my mind tells and what I really want to do.
Right. Thank you. That is one. And Ms. Shweta was asking about.
We actually distract by the social medias. Though even though I give a
social
point,
media as an example. Yeah. Okay.
yes, sir.
Right.
Not only social media, you can consider other forms also, sir. Like I don't want to
Right. Other
get
forms of
distracted.
distraction. Right.
Yes, but I just want to take 2 minutes of break
Right.
and then I have to get back to work. But that is not possible all the time.
The 2 minutes
We get
becomes half an
distracted.
hour.
Yes.
Right. Whatever is the break creates a distraction that carries us away.
Yes, and apart from this, if I want to do something work, if I sit early in the morning around 8 o'clock, finishing all my activities, if I sit to complete this any work, sometimes in the middle, why am I doing this?
Right.
Like that, all those kinds of something which is suppressing our activities, if those kinds of thought comes, the entire day goes waste. Even though I know that this day is going waste, but still we continue to do the same. Why is that so?
Why is that? Right. Okay. Right.
I am Janaki Ram.
Namaste, sir.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, very well. Very well.
Okay. No, what I was thinking is they have raised a very good points, but can we bring on the overall objective or purpose of life, which all of us know is towards attaining liberation or moksha or salvation? So how do we really keep the focus on that? I mean, that time available for us. Every day, some time to be devoted for this. And then what should we do in that time period devoted? Just to read Gita, do something else, or just to do japa or puja, that is sufficient? Or some idea on that. What is this moksha sadhana?
Right.
I don't know whether I made myself clear.
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
I think I did address that in a few classes, but I will visit that again. Yeah.
No, everything draws. I mean, all our time. What that quadrants finally fall into place from that.
Right. So I'm just gathering all the questions in my basket. So I will pick
thank
one.
you.
Yes. Right. So there is one Lavani. Would you like to say something or ask some question?
Yes, sir. Namaste.
Namaste.
Me being a yoga student and I am staying in a university where spirituality is being practiced, or I don't know. I am very much I get influenced very easily. If there is anything said by anyone about God or any practice, I will do it. As you were telling, a donkey attitude, I have that, and I just go and I'll do it without knowing the meaning of it. And you had said about Ishtadevata, finding your Ishtadevata, and not abstaining oneself from doing practices without knowing the meaning of it. So I would like to know what I am doing, if it is right or wrong, or what practices should I do to be more clear.
Right. Okay. Right. So that we have Soumya who is left. Soumya R. Would you like to say something?
Vanakkam, sir.
Vanakkam.
I have a problem, like if someone is asking for a help or some favor, I'm always available for that. they're taking advantage of that. Every time this is happening, and that is creating conflict. Should
Right.
I change
Right.
myself as they are exploiting me, or
Right.
how to handle that?
Right. Okay. Good. So that is one issue that you would like to address. So now I will keep all these in mind now. So until I finish addressing all these, the classes will continue to address these. And there can be a back and forth discussion whenever each point I am discussing. If you have any further questions or something to add or to clarify, you can please feel free to put it in the chat and we can do it while I am discussing your topic. So now I have it all in the basket. So I will address one by one. Yeah. So I will today. The last question of what Ms. Soumya was mentioning. Because whatever we want to do, we have to first be available for the task, right? So we have to be available. If we want to address our needs, to understand our needs first, and to address our needs, to become conscious of what we actually need, and then to allot our resources in terms of energy, time, etc. Our well-being, our own well-being. So there is a beautiful statement in Bhagavad Gita, shloka. It says, Uddharet Atman Atmanam. Uplift yourself by your own self. Na Atmanam na avasadayed. Do not go against your own welfare. Atmeva Atmano Bandhuhu Atmeva Ripuratmanaha, because you are your own friend and you are your own enemy. Okay. Now, we are pitching addressing our needs versus being available for others. So whatever others are asking, I am letting myself be available for them. Either it could come from a confused value with which we grow, like, we have to help others, we have to be selfless. These kind of values are being told to us, which is basically a distorted form of the concept of yajna. There is in our dharma, there is a concept of yajna, where we are also a contributor to the life while we consume from life, from nature, from the society, from our family. So we are consuming. We are born as a helpless person, and as we grow, we consume in so many ways. So while I am consuming, I am also contributing for the collective welfare and for the collective stability of different systems. Environment is a system. Our ecosystem around us, the animals, plants, everything, the nature, the family, the social structure. So everybody has to contribute to keep the structure going so that everybody can benefit from it. So if only one person is consuming as a freeloader, that person, they say, the one who, for example, the one who enjoys without giving the due to the gods is a thief. Without giving due recognition to the devatas and all the other entities, is nature is a thief. It comes. It has to be understood in the right context. So there is, let us forget about the subtle universe, the Sukshma Prapancham, and the relationship between the subtle world and the physical world. We'll forget that for time being. Basic common sense, when we see that all the resources are available for us, right? When we are born, all the resources are given, available. And we are benefiting from that and growing, and we become capable of sharing our resources. So we are able to produce, we have become productive and we are able to produce more than what we need. And whatever is left above what we need, we share. So in the sharing with others, the fellow human beings, animals, plants, in the sharing, and also the gods, in the sharing, there are two kinds. One is obligatory sharing, the duty. Another is charity. For example, if you pay your taxes, it is an obligation. You are supposed to do that. After paying the taxes, if you want to donate to some cause, it is optional. I may donate, I need not donate, it's up to me. Now here we understand what is obligatory, what is optional. So whatever is obligatory, if I don't do, there are consequences, negative consequences. But if I do what is obligatory, I may not get anything out of it great. I am just able to continue my life peacefully. That is obligatory contribution. Then which comes under the circle of duty. Another is charity, optional voluntary contribution in terms of my seva, in terms of my resources, money, things, etc. So this optional contribution, if I do, I get punya, or I expand my heart, I have this emotional health, I'm able to reach out, I feel good, I feel happy, I feel big, in the sense I am able to relate with something bigger than myself, right? I'm able to appreciate something bigger than myself, and there is an expansion of heart, charity. And it also contributes to the society and others wherever the basic functional structure is lacking in providing. So this reaching out helps others, and similarly, when everybody is in the practicing charity, when we are in a situation of need, somebody's charity will reach out to us. It goes like that. But it is optional. If I don't do, I don't incur any negative consequences. If I do, it's wonderful. So that's how it is, optional or voluntary contribution. Now, so when I am the same, this is the concept, this is the basic framework, right? So they say yajnam, danam. Yajnam comes under obligatory, danam comes under charity, tapas comes under discipline and restricting oneself. Yajnam, danam, tapas. These are the basic pillars of our meaningful life. So I am living my life in a meaningful way. So if I say I'm living my life in a meaningful way, generally this yajnam, danam and tapas are considered as the most important three pillars, the pivot on which the meaningful life continues. This is the approach in the tradition, yajnam, danam, tapas. Tapas is me challenging my limitations, me challenging my desires, and developing resilience and discipline and growing internally. That is tapasya. And also becoming powerful in the sense of not being disturbed in my commitments, my ability to hold on to my commitments, my ability to achieve my targets. All this is aided by tapasya. Tapasya builds a strong person. Yajnam builds a stable society and ecosystem. Danam expands your heart and connects everybody, and it nourishes love, the unconditional love. So these three, life goes on wonderfully. Now, this is the value. But what happens is sometimes we don't understand certain values because our exposure to that values is not through the Shastra. Our exposure to most of the values is through loose discourse. You know what is loose discourse? Loose discourse means talking about a tattva, a principle, a philosophy, or in a non-systematic way, in a very loose way, where I miss the context, I miss the relevance, I miss the purpose. I just chumma, just like that, I keep quoting stuff. And it comes out of the need for psychological comfort, right? For example, we will say, I want to, let us say, I want to achieve a certain goal. For example, I want to finish my assignments on time. So I have some assignments, I have to finish them on time. Right? Now, to finish that on time, that is a purushartha. That is my goal. Dharma purushartha. What I am supposed to do, I am supposed to accomplish that. To accomplish that, I have to plan and I have to do these actions. We break down the sequence and I have to apply myself diligently. So while I am applying myself, I may get obstacles. I may have some friend will call, hey, shall we go for a movie? Or, why don't we do a hangout and, we'll talk. And that friend would have called me after 10 years, very important friend. Then I feel obligated, right? So all kinds of competing, all kinds of obligations, they are, they might send all kinds of situations have the potential to invoke a sense of obligation that is contradictory to my current commitment. Then what I have to do is I have to make a value judgment. So I have to prioritize. I have to see that is important as this is important right now. So this guy, I did not talk to this person for 10 years, called now important. Good. Now, is it so important that I have to give up the assignment target and talk to this person? Or can I say hello, very nice, and then excuse myself and get back to the assignment, finish the assignment and then talk to him? Because that person did not take my permission before calling. The person did not reach out to me. The person reached out to me randomly, out of the blue, without planning. The person should have thought about it, whether this person is busy or not. So the person, if the person is sensible, will not have expectation that you drop all that you have and then go and talk to that person. The friend may not have that expectation. If the friend has that expectation, it's an unhealthy friend. So here, it is not obligatory for me to talk to this, to set aside my time and talk to this person and give on at the cost of my commitment, which is my assignment, right? Now, assignment comes under duty, obligatory. If I don't do, there are consequences. Now, if I don't talk to this friend at all, there may be consequences of losing this friend. But there is always a way to accuse yourself and then get back to the work and finish, and you get back to the friend, make a note, then get back to that friend. That option is there. And the friend is supposed to understand, that person is supposed to understand. It is not any life-threatening emergency. Even if it is a life-threatening emergency, you are not obliged to be available for anybody and everybody. Because if you are a very helpful person, always available for any crisis situation, in a society, usually 1 or 2% on a generous estimate, 1 or 2% of the people are like this. They are always there for, for taking, for others' needs, and any situation is there, they are always there. You can always count on them, they say, right? So if you are a person who can always be counted upon, usually there is a unfair, asymmetric amount of obligations with which people come to. There is a asymmetric amount of obligations that people ask, that people will come to you for different kind of help, and there will be so many situations, much more than what comes to others. So there will be a lot of requests. There will be an asymmetric and unusually large amount of requests coming to this person when compared to somebody else, because that is the image this person has created. So there is a beautiful story of two women neighbors. They used to give food for the beggar, right? The beggar comes every day. So one woman always says no, no, no. There is another woman who is giving every day, make sure that there is always some food, something for this beggar when he comes. So very famous statement in Tamil Nadu. I don't know if there is an equivalent in Karnataka or elsewhere. So one day, this woman who always says no, she happened to have something, some old food, whatever, and then she gave it to the beggar. The fellow came. And that day, unfortunately, this woman who used to regularly give did not have anything to give. So the beggar said that Maharani who always says no, she herself had something to give today. You, Mudevi means the elder sister of Lakshmi, who is considered as Alakshmi, no? So this is anti-Lakshmi. So it's a word called Mudevi. So you who give every day, you Mudevi who give every day, what is your problem today? So that's what he told her. So, Denam Kudukura Maharasi Avale Kurta, Denam Kuduka the Maharasi Kurta, Denam Kudukara Mudevi Onakanan Ketana. Right? So this is what happened. So people take you for granted because this is the expectation. So, and because they expect you to do, it also builds a kind of sense of obligation, which is a illogical, a fake value, a fake kind of an obligation. So you develop a kind of a fake value because why this happens, this fake value happens because of two reasons. One, we have not really understood the place of being helpful and reaching out to others. What is the place it has in our life, right? So see, my self-care, self-discipline and my growth, my obligations and my charity, all these three are required. Think of this like a tripod, right? So if one leg becomes long, the tripod becomes unstable, right? So life becomes unstable. So these three kind of commitments, these three values of yajnam, dhanam and tapas, if dhanam becomes too much, it is going to disturb our tapas and our yajnam. So doing charity at the cost of your duty becomes a problem. It's like a disease. So why do we do that? Either we don't understand the value of this value called charity in its rightful place, or we have a confusion about what are our duties, what is our obligation. So we have to look into that. We have to look into what is making us subconsciously prioritize one thing over the other. So there are always conflicts. Like I said, you in the situation with the assignment, this obligation comes. Then we will be thinking, look at my karma. My karma is only when I want to do something, all these kind of disturbances will come. So now this is a fake understanding. This is a loose discourse. So this loose discourse, what happens is you blame it on karma. Say, okay, karma makes that old friend who did not call you for a long time make a call after 10 years, exactly when you want to finish your assignment. That is karma. But karma always goes with purushartha. Purushartha is your commitment to your own goals. So your purushartha is the assignment. My action. So what Shastra tells us is my action is always based on my purushartha, not based on my karma. The result of action is always accepted gracefully based on the understanding of karma. So this is the very, very important teaching that we have in the yoga, that in karma always goes with purushartha. So now my Purushartha is to finish the assignment. The loose discourse of karma is, after I finish it, whatever happened, because of, let us say there is a power cut and things like this, there are different kinds of disturbances that are possible. Some disturbances we can overcome, but some disturbances will overcome our ability to address our commitment, to reach our targets, right? So I try my best and I stay committed to my Purushartha. Why I am using the word again and again is so that it gets into our head. Purushartha, Purushartha, it's an important word because everybody talks about karma. Hollywood also talks about karma, but nobody talks about Purushartha. So my Purushartha is, my goal is to finish the assignment in the stipulated time. So my focus is always on Purushartha. I am always investing on Purushartha. I am not thinking about karma until the task is over. To finish the task, my focus is Purushartha. After I have done my part, I have done my best, whatever is the result. Suppose there I had made some small errors or something because of all the distractions, whatever. Or, by some totally out of my hand situation, which I cannot do anything about, I was not able to submit it on time. These kind of things could happen. Then we say, we accept the situation based on karma. We use the word karma for the result, for accepting the result gracefully, never for deciding what I should do. For deciding what I should do in a given situation, we are always counting on Purushartha. We are always thinking in the Purushartha angle. We never think in the karma angle. It's a very, very important teaching, which we keep missing. That is why we have, as a whole civilization, we have ended up in passivity because of this loose discourse. The loose discourse of karma is whatever will happen, will happen. Why are we bothered? No, let it, whatever happen will happen. It's all in my karma. It's all, God's will. God has no will. This is another problem. Like how we say karma, they say, if God wills, I will be able to do. So what does it mean? It means if there is every situation, whatever effort I put, that effort, in order to bear the result, requires a certain amount of divine grace. But divine grace is also only one part of the whole thing. Now, what would be the reason that God will not want you to do something? Or in other words, why would God want you to do something? Are you that important that God has some plan for each one of you? God has no plan for anybody. You make your own plans. If God has plan, then the entire Moksha Shastra can be thrown in the dustbin. Because you may be wanting moksha, but God may not want moksha for you. Right? Again, so only if the God wills, this will happen. It's a way of learning to appreciate the unknown factors that govern the result of our action. There are so many unknown factors that govern the result of our action. Whatever we do, two people do the same thing. One person is successful, another person is not successful. One person is more successful than the effort he put. Another person put a lot of effort and only a little bit successful. Another person is not at all successful and gets contrary result. All these things are happening, right? So that set of factors that influence our life, which we cannot control, which is out of our hand, which seems to be apparently very, we don't know why it happens, what is causing it. So we understand it as God's will. What is God's will here? God's will is nothing but my own prarabdha karma, my own past karma's result, which is bearing fruit now. Whatever I did in my past life, whatever is the thing that has caused my current life to take shape, is giving its result. Now, this result happens, whatever happens in my current life, my prarabdha karma, happens now, is able to manifest because of this universal cosmic structure, or because the whole universal mechanisms are kept together by this super mind called God or Ishvara, because of the mind of Ishvara that keeps the entire dharma of this universe going. So because of that, it happens. So God here is only the nimitta. God here is only the foundation or the support because of which the laws of karma work. Lord God, Bhagavan, makes the laws of karma consistently work. The laws of karma consistently work because of the presence of the intelligence of God. That's how it is to be understood. It is not that God is personally interfering in each person's life and getting things done and has a plan for you. He wants one person. Then what happens? God becomes a psycho. He favors one person, he doesn't favor another person. And it's a problem. Then that God is not a God. That God is like a dangerous creature that we have to, we have to tackle. So then, then it's not a God, is not a pleasant thing at all if this is true. So this is called loose discourse because we don't understand the tattva of Ishvara tattva, the concept of how God works in relation to karma and karma phala. And also we don't understand karma along with purushartha. We are tired or probably we are frustrated. We have some emotional issues. So that our inner tiredness, our emotional issues, whatever we have, it takes over our intellect. It takes over our judgment. And we don't approach these concepts rigorously. We are just looking for a comfortable explanation to comfort us. So we are looking for a comforting explanation. For example, when we go to a doctor, right? You have some problem somewhere in stomach or something, and you go to the doctor, gastroenterologist. The gastroenterologist discovers that this person has a colon cancer. Now, what the doctor says, the person doesn't like to know. It's not comforting to hear a normal person. It's not comforting to hear that I have colon cancer. The doctor will not say, sir, you have colon cancer. That's it. You will have to go through these treatments. And if it is all successful, you will live. Otherwise, another 2 years, you are going to be dead. Most probably. This the doctor can say on the face. The doctor will not say that. Any sensible doctor will not say that. The doctor will sugarcoat it and put it in so many other ways and let us see. And then he will try to explain it to some relatives or somebody else. And slowly the person wakes up to the reality of this, that this person has colon cancer. But what is the expectation? That the doctor will say, oh, you have this 1 or 2 tablets, everything will be fine in 1 week. That is the comforting answer, correct? So in every situation when we want, in many situations as a common person, we don't want truth. We want a comforting answer. If a fat person goes and asks, hey, how am I looking? You cannot, doesn't like to hear, I look fat. No, hey, you look fat. The person doesn't like to hear, especially girls. So what do you say? Oh, you look good. It's not. Even the person says, they say, oh, no, I don't think this is fat. You look healthy and you look well built. It's all right. Sugar coated in so many ways. Huh? So this is because of wanting a comforting idea. This loose discourse happens both in our own head and in our conversations because there is a huge value for psychological comfort over and above truth. That is why even Shastra is saying, Satyam Bruyat, speak the truth. Great. Priyam Bruyat, speak the truth in a likable way. Because there is a huge psychological requirement for sense of comfort. So the truth should not disturb your sense of comfort. Truth always goes with ahimsa. The truth should not hurt. If it is a hurtful truth, but it is a useful truth, it has to be conveyed in as much as possible in a non-hurtful way. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, hitam bruyat. Na bruyat, satyam apriyam. Don't tell the truth that is not likable. I don't like to hear it. Today is December 25. December 25 was not the birth of Jesus Christ, for example. There is some research scholars, a lot of research going on in this historicity. So they say that December 20, apparently they have found out that this person was born most probably in July according to the constellation, not born in December. December was a pagan festival which was appropriated by the early Christians and then started mentioning as Jesus' birthday. Plus, this Gregorian calendar has no connection with any cosmic order, like like how we have Panchangam. This English calendar is not aligned with anything in the universe. It is a complete Jiva Srishti, totally meaningless, astrologically, astronomically, spiritually meaningless calendar. Okay. Now, this is the truth. But we cannot walk into probably, if you go to a church, probably more than 50% because of all the information revolution, probably more than 50% of the Christians know that today is not the real birthday of Jesus. It is just a thing. So, but they forget all that and they're enjoying. We cannot go into a Christian congregation or somebody, we have a friend who is Christian, call that person and say, hey, this December 25 is a lie. This is not Jesus' birthday or something. Whole Christmas is a stupid lie. We cannot tell that. We don't have to tell that. That person does not come and ask you for a discourse on what is the truth of Christmas, right? So we don't go and tell that. We say, okay, if they have a Christian friend, you wish them Merry Christmas and be done with that. If there is a discussion on some other time about this, we can probably explore the research that has been done. Right. So, Satyam Bruyat, Hitam Bruyat, Priyam Bruyat. Na Bruyat, Satyam Apriyam. Don't tell the truth that is not nice. In the sense, either contextually or for the person, it is not nice. Why all this is there? Because there is a huge natural psychological need for inner comfort. Right. Now, because of this, a person who has an identity problem, this is another side of it. So because of this, we may not understand, the value as it is, a dharma as it is, and we may create or succumb to comforting definitions. There is God, God is great, don't worry, God will take care of you. God is great, but probably God is not taking care of you. When somebody is suffering in a very, had some unfortunate situation, you go and comfort them. Don't worry, God will take care. But the truth is, God will not take care. Your own karma will take care. God takes care only through your karma. If you do some special prayers or etc., those prayers are extra karma. Because of the power of the prayers, some effect may come. You might invoke some grace specifically for situation, what they call as prayashchitam and all that. So because of that, you might get some result, or some saint or Mahatma can bless you. It is because of the power of their tapasya that it is solving your problem. It is not some abstract God who is coming and taking care of your problem. God is there in the sense there are divine powers, there are subtle entities, there are great beings. If you have already established a contact with that divine power, because of your tapasya and anushtanas in your past life, or your parents or your ancestors or your guru, or you have done some seva, you have some blessings, that will protect you. Otherwise, the divine as it is, according to the supreme being, you don't even exist. You are an illusion. You are a product of illusion. You and I, we don't exist. So God doesn't take care. God takes care only through the laws of karma. So this is very, very important to understand. But we don't go and tell that God will not take care. We are all left with this problem. Let us see what we can do. That's too realistic. We don't say that. So we say God will take care. It's a loose discourse. But nothing wrong in that. But if we are not alert, the loose discourse gets to us. It hijacks our understanding, and the loose discourse becomes our way of thinking. It starts taking over our way of thinking, and we approach all problems only in the form of loose discourse. So in this, helping others is a value, right? Helping others is a value. Either I don't understand it properly. Helping others is the purpose of life. Somebody says, Parobaharartham itam shariram. Right. Then there is one saint is giving some other meaning, another saint is giving some other meaning. Now, Paropaharam can be understood in so many ways. Now, this is a Arthavada. It is not a, there is in our Shastra, when we study our scriptures, there are a lot of statements which glorify a value. When you glorify a value, it is for you to absorb it in a subconscious way and appreciate it, and for that value to take ground in our heart, for us to have a natural appreciation, develop an appreciation for the value, they do this exaggerated statement, an arthavada. So it is not a definition. It is an arthavada, means it is an appreciative statement. So we don't study properly. We will tend to take an arthavada literally. Right. So then all this problem comes. So this is the problem of understanding. Another is the problem of ego and identity. This is another problem. Helping others becomes too much when I don't have a sense of self-worth. For many people, this is there. I don't have a sense of self-worth, and my sense of self-worth is completely dependent on others recognizing. So if people don't recognize me and I don't feel important, I don't feel good about myself. The only way in which I feel good about myself is when somebody else recognizes me. Sometimes, when you go to a psychologist or a psychotherapist, they will analyze you, and in many cases, they conclude that probably you had an abusive childhood where you are constantly invalidated. You are not good enough. You are not okay. You are not good enough. You are a curse for this family. Why? We are really unfortunate that you are our child. The parents can say that. Or you constantly compare with some neighbor child who is doing better in education. You may be doing better in something else, but you may not be recognized for that. So basically, in the age when we are growing up, the identity, the self-concept, the sense of self-worth was not formed properly. Our ego was abused, and because of that, we developed a certain kind of a complex, because of which we may tend to look for recognition and acknowledgement from others, and as a way for that, to win that recognition and acknowledgement in others, we go out of the way to help and please them. Now, what happens? This becomes a habit. So, out of a fake understanding and a fake value, or out of a psychological need, we start doing some action, and that action becomes a habit. So, when that action becomes a habit, it creates a samskara, it creates an impression, and then it totally clouds your idea. So you don't even know why you are doing it anymore. The action is a pattern. It becomes a pattern, habit pattern. And the pattern has its own power because it's called hardwiring in the brain. The hardwiring in the brain, in our yogic terminology, we understand that it becomes a samskara, and it is ruled more by prana and less by buddhi. So in a given situation, when the emotion is invoked, the prana gets activated and you are pushed into action. The rajoguna takes over, the chitta and your mind flows in that direction, and you are pushed into action. So the pattern of action takes over and it carries your resources and it pushes you to do. So it constantly gives you a prompting, and you become helplessly, you are forced into doing that. If you don't do it, you feel very restless, you feel very uncomfortable with yourself, you feel guilty. So there is what we call in psychology, they call as cognitive dissonance. There is an inner conflict. A part of you wants to do that. The same thing comes with the distractions and other things also. It's the same concept. Chitta and prana, the unconscious, subconscious mind that is driven by samskara or a habit pattern. The habit pattern is activated in the chitta because of an external situation, stimulus, it activates a response. And the samskara is so strong that prana gets involved immediately in that. Your entire vital energy is involved in that. It becomes a force. Then the force makes you restless and it pushes you. And we don't know how to handle that restlessness. And because of that, we end up doing that action, even though our buddhi is not completely in agreement with that. And after doing that action, I might regret doing that action because it has consequences on other aspects of my life, which are tapasya and yajna, my self-discipline and self-care, and my commitments and obligations. The charity interfered, took my resources away, which are meant for my duty and which are meant for my self-care. So I become depleted. And because I become depleted, and because everything is meant for nourishing me, this is a fundamental value that I have to feel good about myself as most fundamental value. Because I feel depleted, I feel that I have overdone what I am supposed to do. Something is not okay about it. So I don't feel okay, even though the action is a noble action of helping others. Instead of expanding my heart and giving me happiness, the noble act of helping another person has become a botheration. So this is because the action is backed by compulsive samskara of wanting to please others, which is not based on a realistic understanding of the situation. Realistic understanding of my role in the situation is missing. So this is a kind of a darkness, right? So when this is missing, it is the action of helping another person is coming from the space of ignorance, the power of ignorance. Another word for the power of ignorance is tamas. So if we go and study the Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, right? In Bhagavad Gita, there is a chapter, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. I think it is chapter 14 or 17, I forgot. So Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. So that is Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, the 2-3 chapters, last chapters, right? So in that, so what is Sattvic Dhanam? What is Rajasic Dhanam? What is Tamasic Dhanam? What is Sattvic food? What is Rajasic food? What is Tamasic food? Like that, all aspects of life are covered in that. Right? What is Sattvic Tapasya? What is Rajasic Tapasya? What is Tamasic Tapasya? So here, helping others can be done in a Sattvic way, a Rajasic way, or a Tamasic way. I am helping another person in order to feel good or boost my ego, Rajasic. I am helping another person because the situation is right. This is my role to help, and it is not interfering in my other commitments. I have the resources to help, and I understand it clearly, the context, and it is the right thing to do, and I do it. Then I help. It is a Sattvic help. The result of Sattvic help is happiness for the other person and long-standing happiness for you, and no negative consequences on any other aspect of life. Only positive consequences on other aspects of life. That would be a Sattvic help. A Rajasic help, if the person does not recognize you, the person is not reciprocating in gratitude, you will feel bad. That is the first sign of Rajasic. I did this, the fellow did not even say thank you. That is Rajasic help. So I'm looking for recognition. So if I am doing a Sattvic help, if the help reaches that person and that person is able to solve the problem, is feeling good, that itself is my satisfaction. By seeing that person, the help has rectified and the person is doing well now. So that is my satisfaction. I am not there is zero expectation from that person to even recognize or even say a thank you. Zero expectation. So that is Sattvic help. Rajasic help is mostly based on my ego recognition and me feeling good about that, people recognizing, people appreciating. Rajasic. Tamasic helping others is I feel obliged, I feel compelled to do it, I don't want to do it, I regret doing it, but I don't feel any other option. If I don't do, I feel restless. So I feel bad while doing it. There is no knowledge basis for that. I feel forced for doing it. I feel forced to do it, and I feel uncomfortable while doing it. And after doing it, maybe the other person may not have received the help properly, or even if the other person has received and enjoyed the help, I would feel depleted and I would feel that I lost something, and there will be negative consequences on other aspects of my life. That is a tamasic help. Right. So each person has to decide when they are helping others. Maybe we can pause when there is a situation where another person is expecting something from you. Maybe we can take a pause and reflect. Now, what would be the Sattvic approach to this? So what is pushing me to help? When you feel pushed to help, you can look at and examine your intention. Take a few deep breaths. Always take a few deep breaths helps. because it stabilizes the prana. When prana stabilizes, the chitta's agitation stabilizes. When chitta's agitation stabilizes, the ability for a habit pattern to take over your intellect becomes less. Now, your intellect is able to stay put. Your intellect is able to function even when there is a habit pattern that is, active in your mind. It's not so active that it carries away your judgment. You are able to exercise your judgment in the middle of a temptation. So that is called, that kind of stability comes from pranayama. A very simple exercise I can tell now. I always tell this, every time you want to relax, right? How people relax, they do this. You do that and see how you feel. You will feel more visceral and more unconscious, and it's a little more heavy. Instead of that, when you want to relax, do this. Inhale and exhale slowly. Control the exhalation and exhale slowly and consciously and relax. And you will see you have relaxed. At the same time, you are more alive here. You will see that your prefrontal cortex, or your forehead area, in this area you will feel more alive and you will feel more conscious. When you want to relax, you relax like just take a deep breath, but control the exhalation. Every time you want to take a deep breath, inhale fast, but exhale slow and controlled. Try this like a commitment. Every time you want to, instead of that, you do like that. You'll see the difference instantly. So you can make it a habit, right? So this tells us how breath control can keep you more conscious. So the purpose of pranayama is, Patanjali says, by the practice of pranayama, the covering of the light is removed. Atakshiyate prakasha avaranam basically means every time you slow down your prana and control your prana, your intellect or your buddhi or your conscious judgment becomes more alive. And your habit patterns and samskaras and the situational compulsions have less power over your judgment. You are able to save your judgment and exercise your judgment according to the best knowledge that you have. That way, we can minimize being carried away by the situations or by our inner compulsions from habit patterns. Right? So this is how we do that. And every time we want to do this help to others or people taking for granted, I feel that I am. So we have to examine the intention. Take a deep breath, few deep breaths. Examine your intention, the motivation, the rush, the push, the compulsion you have to do that for that person, right? Take a few minutes, examine that. Don't say yes or no. You say, just give me a minute and then go away. Take a few deep breaths and examine the urge to make you do something for that person, right? Examine that urge. Wait for the rush to go down and then think about it logically, rationally, and also how much emotional value it has. All that is fine. Think about it. And make a relaxed judgment without rush. And then after that, we can act on it or not act on it, or act on it appropriately. So that way it will help. It is the same principle that applies for every other inner compulsion that we have. And we will deal with that situationally in the coming classes. It's 7:02 now. So we will complete this class and I will address all the other issues in the coming classes. Please watch the YouTube video again if you want to understand. And if you can post some questions, keep your questions ready. And as select KTs, I will address them. And using the knowledge of the yoga and the entire Shastra, you will see how to address these different situations that we and challenges that we face. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamivavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Tat Sat. Thank you.
Henry.
We began with questions, so we are not ending with questions.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm leaving. Huh?